Hi and welcome to the review video of the Doogee Turbo-mini F1. The Doogee Turbo-mini F1 we kindly received from the TinyDeal Onlineshop, and as usually you can find the product link to this nice device in the video description. So let's start this video and basically just like sum up quickly what do I want to show you in this video. In this video I just quickly want to show you how does this device actually looks like, how does the menu and everything, the UI of this device looks like, how does it quickly perform, just a few like roughly of the data, and show you guys what kind of sensors does it support and such things. For the actual detailed things I can just advise you, check the review, like the detailed text-based review. I will give you a link as usual also in the video description. So to start the review, let's just check how the Doogee Turbo-mini F1 actually looks like. And the first thing which you will notice when you take this device in the first time in your hands is actually that you will notice that this thing is really light. So I've checked the weight of this mobile phone and it just has a weight of roughly 140 grams with battery to be noticed. So basically when you take this device in your hand, you basically just wonder if the battery is actually in because it is so light. Beside that, the Turbo-mini F1 has a kind of serious design, which means it's like kept in black. I think there is also a version in white, but I actually prefer this kind of totally black look. It looks really nice in my opinion. The back has a kind of like this spotted design, so like there are like small like holes in it, but you can actually don't really feel it. It just looks kind of nice. Which also looks kind of nice, I mean, is this kind of metal frame around the camera, which you can also feel. It's really metal, it's really kind of looking high valuable. Same goes for these kind of metal bars which are placed on the side, similar to the ones which you maybe know from the iNew V3. And these are placed on both sides. Also the volume rocker is, as well as the power button, is out of metal. Here's a small downside on the volume rocker. This is not totally in place, so it has like this little space where it can go freely. So you kind of like hear this when you like, it's very silent, you move the device like this, you can hear this clicking sound, how the volume rocker moves, but that's actually, I guess, the price which you pay, since this device is actually a really low-cost device. Same goes for the top and for the downside, since this is actually not metal, just the sides are metal, the top and the bottom is made out of plastic, which just have this chrome look. So let's continue and check how the Android actually looks like. For this we're gonna take the device out of its sleep mode, and as you already see, it also supports this double tap to wake up, but more on this on the later review. So let's just check, and as you may already have seen now, the menu pretty much looks like the Android stock menu, just like with a very slight difference, since the pre-installed launcher from Doogee basically puts behind all the icons a small colorful tile, as you can see here, which is probably not everyone's taste since it's gonna be really colorful, but since it's really near to the Android stock launcher, there shouldn't be a big problem to actually replace this launcher with a kind of alternative launcher which you can download from the Play Store, for example. But beside that, one thing to notice also when you start up this device at first, that this thing is really fast actually and snappy for this kind of price which you pay for it. So like you really much notice the MT6733 inside here. This new generation of MediaTek SoCs is really fast. So basically this device is really snappy, so it goes really fast. You don't notice any kind of lag in the normal navigation through the different Android pages, which you obviously shouldn't do, but actually this is even like if you have like a normal, for example, an old MT6582 in your hand, which actually is not lagging at all, but then you switch to this device and it's really fast. So really thumbs up for this here. So let's have a quick look into the settings of this device. For this we quickly go into the settings menu obviously, and first thing I would like to show you are the different languages supported by the Doogee Turbo-mini F1. For this I'm going to scroll like usually through the different languages supported, and you can basically just stop the video at the point where you think your like wanted language is and check if it's supported or not. So there was the languages. And since we already are in the settings menu, we'll have a quick look at about the phone and the Android version. You can see it has the Android 4.4.4 version, KitKat, and we can click several times on it and we see the KitKat logo booting up. And if we keep pressing on it, we have this Android KitKat tile game here, which pretty much shows us that this thing is an actual real Android KitKat device, not a like fake Jelly Bean one, but a real genuine KitKat. It also supports wireless update, which is kind of nice since you don't really need to flash a new firmware. If, let's call it, to be honest, it has to be on the Doogee servers, but if they really do it now, then you can actually just download the newest firmware version automatically to this. So to this info now, we are supposed to have the newest firmware version, which is kind of nice. And beside that, as I already mentioned when we started up the device, it also supports this smart wake up. So for example, this double tap to wake, as you can see I already activated, but for example also other things like for example slide to unlock and several gestures, like for example I can draw C to start the phone, or let's slide to unlock directly. So we slide up and it's directly unlocked, so not even unlocking anymore. I actually don't really use this functionality so much, but at least it's always nice to have, I guess. To get a rough idea of the performance of the Turbo-mini F1, I ran several benchmarks, like for example the 3D Mark benchmark or the Antutu version 5.6 benchmarks, which I'm gonna show you here now the result. And for all the other benchmarks, I can just advise you go to my text-based review and check out the details there, because now I'm going to show you the result of this, which actually I don't know why didn't it save it, but yes, the other reviews, the other results you can see in the text-based review. So, the Antutu version 5.6 benchmark just finished and it returns a value of roughly 30,000 points, which is actually a pretty nice value, keeping in mind that this device actually just have 1 GB of RAM and is a pretty much low-cost device. So, to sum up all these different factors, you can see the new strength of this new MediaTek SoCs. Well, in this device it's the MT6732. And it basically gives you really good power. Obviously not enough for some hardcore gaming, something like this, but definitely above just like average using. So it's pretty nice, decent device in my opinion. And this Antutu result, together with its price, it's pretty good in my opinion. So thumbs up here. So let's check what kind of sensors does the Doogee Turbo-mini F1 actually have. And for this I'm going to start this small app called Sensor Toolbox, and here is going to be like a small surprise, since according to shop information this device just has an accelerometer sensor, a light sensor and a proximity sensor, but now this whole variety of sensors shows up. But to sum it up all in just the beginning, these are all actually just fake, which are not in the shop information. So you can see the accelerometer sensor is really built in, it works. Same goes to the light sensor, which is pretty similar as I experienced with the Doogee DG280, since although it's totally covered, it still shows a value of over 100 lux, which is I guess some offset problem with the sensor, since they basically I guess used some budget one here. Same goes, or like similar problem we have, or not really problem, but similar behavior we have with the proximity sensor, since it has a very limited resolution of just basically 2 stages, like covered and not covered, which is basically totally enough for the simple turn off while talking. But as I already mentioned in the DG280 review, if you're using some kind of special pretty much out of space game where you for example use this thing to control something, then it's probably not really usable for this. So let's come to this fake sensors. As already mentioned, the orientation sensor is not built in. Same goes for the gyroscope, nothing happens here. And also the magnetic sensor, that if we turn it or whatever, it just shows 0 Tesla for everything. So these ones are fake. But we still have these 3 main sensors, which is probably because of this budget device, but these are pretty much the ones which you also use the most. Beside the microSD slot, the Turbo-mini F1 also supports memory extension via external USB, also called via the USB on the go feature. For this I have just a little pen drive here and a normal USB OTG cable, which I'm gonna just connect to the micro USB port, which is placed on the top, by the way, and we'll just see if it really supports it. And you can already see it starts blinking, and it already asked me if it wants to do the standard write this to this, but I'm gonna say no to this and just quickly check into the settings if it really recognized it as a memory. So let's go to the storage settings, and here we can see external USB storage. So it seriously recognized it as a storage device, so it really supports USB on the go. The Turbo-mini F1 also supports HotNOT. HotNOT is, let's call it, MediaTek's budget alternative to NFC. So to test this, I have here a second device, the Blackview Ultra ASIC, also supporting HotNOT. I turned on the HotNOT feature on both of these phones, and I'm just gonna try to transfer a simple picture, which I already selected here, and just transfer it via HotNOT. For this, I just select this HotNOT share now, and now comes this special HotNOT feature, since you basically have to touch each of the telephone screens like this. Wait a second, and it transferred it. And you can see, successfully received, it got this picture now via HotNOT. So HotNOT is working to actually validate, or to actually rate how useful HotNOT is another question, since I actually never heard of anybody using this feature for real. But again, probably nice to have. It's implemented and it works. As I already mentioned in the last reviews, if you're still interested in the device and want to know more detailed infos, like for example, how's the battery life of this device, or actually what kind of battery did they actually put in this device, or how is the GPS working, or for example, how is the camera working, are those pictures actually good for use for anything, or whatever. Much more infos, like I already told you, in this device you will find in the text-based review, which I will give you the link in the video description as usually. And I hope in this text-based review you will find anything what you're gonna need to know about this device. With this being said, we're already coming to the conclusion of the Doogee Turbo-mini F1. And to conclude this device, I can actually advise this phone to anybody who's looking for a smartphone, for a more compact smartphone, since the variety of smartphones giving, especially China smartphones, with a display diagonal of less 5-inch, since it's very limited, as we know, mostly there, and there they have mostly just the very beginner smartphones. I can actually advise to get this smartphone in a way, since it has full LTE functionality for Europe. It has a kind of very fast SoC inside for this price, and it actually feels very nice, since it doesn't really feel like a budget phone with these metal frames on the side and the very nice weight. I actually like this phone really much. Of course it has a downside. For example, this volume rocker is not perfectly, or for example the 1 GB of RAM is obviously limiting its speed, or actually also the display, since it's not having an HD resolution, and you will notice it of course. But in my honest opinion, I think for 4.5-inch display diagonal, this quadcore HD resolution is still enough. Obviously, if you check closely, you will see the pixels itself, but it's way not that you basically look at it and feel hurt with your eyes because you just see pixels. It's still totally usable and actually nice to look at, in my opinion. But that just being said, I really like this device, and I'm gonna sure it will just follow up my way, since it has a really nice price value ratio, and basically thumbs up for this Doogee phone now. So if you guys enjoyed it, then you can give me just a small favor as usually. If you haven't done so, just hit the subscribe button under the video, and you're subscribed to my channel for the newest information on updates about phones I review and so on. So thanks anyway for watching, and have a nice day. See you next time.